Hello, everyone. My name is Hoala Greevy. I'm the founder, CEO of Paubox, and I'm streaming to you today from Honolulu, where it's windy and warm. If you aren't familiar with our company, Paubox is for healthcare organizations seeking to remove friction from their HIPAA-compliant email communications. Paubox is a cloud-based B2B SaaS solution that provides a seamless user experience for both senders and recipients of secure, compliant email. Unlike incumbent solutions that force recipients to log into a portal to read a secure message, Paubox allows the recipient to read a secure, compliant email in their inbox, just like a normal email. Back in October, we hosted our third annual Paubox Secure at Home conference. And as you'd expect during a pandemic, it was virtual, and I streamed in from a small town in Alaska. One of my biggest takeaways from Paubox Secure at Home was that both our attendees and speakers were looking for ways to maintain relevance, expand their network, and level up and learn new things. It's precisely those insights that hatched today's inaugural Paubox Spring Summit. Our theme for today's Paubox Spring Summit is secure communication during a pandemic, and our speakers will be covering an array of topics around it. We've got a stacked deck for you today. Following my remarks, I'll introduce our keynote speaker, Anshul Pandey, CTO of Stanford Children's Health. Following Anshul and a 5-minute break, we'll cover a valley of innovation, rapid adoption of technological solutions to address COVID-19, featuring Susan Ibanez, Chris Lindley, and Julie Jackson. After that, we'll segue to Tony Ucedi-Velez and his presentation, The Cyber Threat Landscape Evolution, How the Pandemic Changed the Attack Surface in Healthcare. Following a 10-minute break, our next panel will be moderated by Patty Padmanabhan of the Big Unlock podcast. The topic will be a uniform approach to sharing assurance and other certifications, and will feature Mike Parisi, Brian Klein, Michael Mead, and Howard Rosen. After another 10-minute break, our last panel will be the future of healthcare, IT security, and cybersecurity, and will feature Matthew Wallace, Tara Durbin, and Aaron Collins. We'll end with some closing remarks by yours truly. Then we'll cap things off with virtual networking, so both speakers and attendees like yourself can expand your respective networks. Now, before we get all that, I'd like to share some related personal news. I have a ring on my left hand and a Band-Aid on my left arm. Yes, I got married recently at a fish pond here on Oahu, and yesterday I got my first COVID vaccination shot. The process was smooth. The nurse who administered my shot works for Ultras, who is a customer of ours, and I was part of a national average of now 3 million shots per day being administered in the US. Prior to COVID-19, the fastest a vaccination was developed was for mumps in the 1960s, and that took 4 years. With science and technology, we saw the first COVID vaccine developed in less than 12 months. The coronavirus vaccine wasn't the only acceleration we saw, however. Big tech, e-commerce, Robinhood, and many digital healthcare companies also saw explosive growth during the pandemic. We were also part of this crowd. When we launched Paubox back in 2015, our mission was simple yet audacious: to become the market leader for HIPAA-compliant email. For starters, we saw a vacuum of leadership in the vertical, and we intended to fill it. Second, while it may seem like a niche within a niche, we saw a vast opportunity within the HIPAA-compliant email space. US healthcare remains hopelessly addicted to the fax machine, even in 2021, with over 70% of communication still taking place in healthcare via the fax machine. There are vast opportunities for us within healthcare, and we intend to fill them. Here's our plan to do it: leadership, trust, compliance, and security. As we like to say at Paubox, if there's a vacuum of leadership, a leader will fill it. From the outset, we intended to behave as the market leader. This meant hosting our own conference, hosting now our own Spring Summit, starting a podcast, building social proof, and giving back. When it comes to social proof and third-party reviews, we remain the category leader on G2 for email encryption in HIPAA compliant messaging software. In fact, the G2 2021 Winter Report listed us best in class in 3 categories: best email encryption software, best HIPAA compliant messaging software, and best secure email gateway software. In addition, last August, we joined the Inc. 500 list of fastest growing companies in America. Last year, we made Election Day a paid holiday at Paubox, and I'm happy to say that we did achieve 100% voter turnout within our ranks. Lastly, on leadership, we believe the leader always gives back. Several years ago, we created the Paubox Kahikina Scholarship, whose primary objective is to encourage Native Hawaiians to pursue careers in computer science and software development. The scholarship is recurring in nature. In other words, recipients receive $1,000 a year until they graduate with a 5-year maximum. Last year, we tripled our scholarship recipients, going from 1 to 4 concurrent awardees. In fact, our first recipient, Nick Wong, now works with us at Paubox and will be presenting later today. One of our main objectives this year was to provide clear pricing for all of our solutions. Simple objective, not so easy to implement. We recently consolidated our product line from 5 to 3 solutions. In addition, we made pricing easy to understand and have it accessible via a single click. We also introduced freemium models for Paubox Marketing and the Paubox Email API. In fact, we even include a business associate agreement with both paid and freemium accounts. Our aim is to build trust by having clear upfront pricing and easy methods to get started. On the compliance front, we're pleased to announce we recently completed our high trust certification, and it's something we're required to do every 2 years. And when it comes to security, in January, the National Security Agency announced guidance around weak encryption protocols. In a January 5th announcement, the NSA quickly got to the point, and I quote, "The National Security Agency emphatically recommends replacing obsolete protocol configurations with ones that utilize strong encryption and authentication to protect all sensitive information. Network connections employing obsolete protocols are at an elevated risk of exploitation by adversaries." Here at Paubox, we took that as a call to action, and I'm pleased to announce in January, we completed our platform upgrade and eliminated support for obsolete protocols within 2 weeks of NSA's issuance. In a nutshell, we dropped support for TLS 1.0, 1.1, and recently added support for TLS 1.3. This is in direct alignment with the NSA. Now, I'm about to introduce our keynote speaker, Ansho Pandey.